Hey there and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about everyone's favorite topic. That's right, it's the famous Black Samurai of Assassin's Creed Shadows. But first, let's roll the intro.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad.
And what better way to get things started off than talking about IGN and just how low they'll go. In addition to making an article about how Assassin's Creed Shadows is so amazing and everyone should buy it, an article that we see getting repeated again and again for games that turn out to, well,
suck.
No one should be surprised that IGN is running more puff pieces for Ubisoft's
ultra-popular smash hit series Assassin's Creed.
But in this case, for their upcoming likely failure, Assassin's Creed Shadows. And what does this one talk about? Let's not pretend we're mad the new Assassin's Creed Shadows Samurai isn't Asian. That's right, you know what Matt Kim of IGN says you're really mad about? Yes, of course. The real thing you're mad about is that the character is black. And why are you mad about it? Well, you know why. It's because
you're a racist.
He begins his article with an absolute lie right at the end of the first very short paragraph. Ubisoft has finally announced its long-awaited Assassin's Creed game set in feudal Japan. Subtitled Shadows, it follows dual protagonists, a ninja named Naoe and a samurai based on the
historical Black Samurai Yasuke.
Citation needed, because we have very little information about Yasuke, and what little we do have gives no evidence whatsoever to believe that he was a samurai. Is it possible he was a samurai? Well, maybe, but even if he were designated a samurai, it would not be because he went through the normal process of years and years of extensive training, because he wasn't even in Japan that long. It's very unlikely they did anything more than possibly give him an honorary title. It's kind of like when the police show up and there's a kid who's dying at the hospital and they give him an honorary title of officer or deputy. That little 7-year-old boy is not a real law enforcement officer, guys, okay? It's just an honorary title. And there is no evidence that he ever was given the honorary title of samurai. So what we have here is very little information about him, and the sheer lack of evidence to support the samurai argument is in itself evidence. Because if this guy had been named a samurai, I highly doubt that no historian would have written about it. Of course they would have. But enough of that garbage, let's move on to another garbage article, this one by The Gamer, and who specifically? Well, Stacey Henley. And wow, one look at the profile picture for Stacey Henley, and I think we know exactly what we're in for here. What does Stacey have to say? Well, the headline of the article reads, "You don't actually care about Assassin's Creed Shadows, watermelons." Well, let me tell you something. We do care about the watermelons, but not just the watermelons. You see, if all it was an issue of watermelons being in Japan long before they're supposed to be and during the wrong season, that wouldn't be a big deal. Lots of games have little bits of historical inaccuracy. The problem is that this game was presented as if it were going to be historically accurate, and then began with a historical fiction about a black samurai. We wouldn't be emphasizing the historical inaccuracies of this game if it wasn't for somebody out there who really pushed hard to insist that this game was going to be historically accurate, and they had all sorts of experts working with them. And who was it that did that? I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, Ubisoft, the developers. They're the ones that set the standard. They didn't say, hey guys, this is just a video game. Some of it will be accurate, some won't. We're making up some stuff here. We're taking that Hollywood liberty. You know what I mean? We're just fictionalizing a historical period of Japan. If they had said that, I think there would have been a lot less hubbub about it. But instead, they wanted to emphasize how
historically accurate
this game was going to be, and then botched it to no end. If you don't want to be criticized on something, don't emphasize that something as your strong point and then screw it up. Stacey goes on to make an accusation that we could have all seen coming from about 1,000 miles away, and let's read it now. The reason for this is because watermelon season is late April to mid-August, while cherry blossoms bloom through March and into early April. They don't have any strict crossover, though nature does not work to our specific Gregorian timescales. More to the point, watermelons had not yet arrived in Japan, and so the presence of both is an anachronistic goof. Of course, this in itself is not the reason that people believe Assassin's Creed Shadows will be the worst game of all time. I've literally not heard a single person make that claim. It's just what they're saying right now. Why they actually think that is because Yasuke is black. I'm sorry, but I haven't heard anyone claim this will be the worst game of all time, nor have I heard anyone claim that the game will be bad simply because it has a black protagonist. I think we're pointing out the fact that it's historically inaccurate, there are a bunch of bogus claims being made about it, and instead of playing a region-accurate character in feudal Japan, they went and picked the only black guy that was in Japan anytime around that era, and then tried to put him up on a pedestal and say, this guy is going to be the hero of our game. They shoved his face way up to the front and be like,
this dude is the legendary hero of ages in Japan.
and I'm like,
No.
he was in Japan for a very short period of time, was essentially either a bodyguard or just a guy that carried shit for Nobunaga, who was a big character, and instead of getting a time period, regional, locally accurate character, we get a lie. And what kind of lie? A DEI lie. You can't spell lie without DEI. Well, actually you can, but hang on. You know what I'm trying to say. Okay, well, you don't actually need the letter D in there, but you do need the I and the E. IGN puffs up the game in another article with the headline being, How Assassin's Creed Shadows Blends New and Classic Ideas of Dual Protagonists. We don't need to discuss whether the game is good. We don't need to discuss whether protagonists are actually good or accurate or even interesting. We're just going to talk about how, wow, it's so cool to have two different protagonists, as if other games haven't done that, and they have. Muramasa the Demon Blade did it, but no one jumped up to say,
Wow, look how amazing Muramasa the Demon Blade is. It has two protagonists.
though I must say at least one person at IGN is willing to be a tad bit honest about the game. While he doesn't blast it for being bad, he did have a headline that is less than ideal for the game. Not exactly a puff piece, so kudos to him for this particular article. The headline reads as, Assassin's Creed Shadows is not the Ninja Splinter Cell game I hoped for. Sorry, my cat decided that he would rub up against one of my lights, and he literally moved it, so I had to get up and move it back. You know, these cats, they're just little shits. They're always interrupting my work. But then, an interesting rumor hit. There were supposedly some leaks from Ubisoft insiders, and according to thatparkplace.com, and I quote, Assassin's Creed Shadows' delay was to scale back Yasuke after historical backlash. If you read the article, he goes on to say that these supposed insiders are saying that they didn't just delay the game to work on the parkour and the roof mechanics, but instead, they're actually scaling back and reducing Yasuke's role in the game. They're changing some story elements, and they're actually trying to push him into the background. Now, we have seen this with a lot of the promotional material, which, in place of emphasizing Yasuke, now seems to emphasize Naoe and some other characters, with Yasuke either being entirely absent or pushed way off into the background. So, reading this article, you may be led to believe that, yes, indeed, Assassin's Creed Shadows could be saved, but not quite. Not only is Yasuke still one of only two of the main characters, he still plays a very prominent role in the game, even if this were true, but new information has come to light. The rumors are now quite to the contrary, stating that instead of Yasuke's role being diminished, this is an intentional misinformation campaign to try to convince people that Ubisoft is actually fixing the game. They're gonna make it better. They're gonna reduce Yasuke's role. They're gonna change the story a little bit. They're gonna make sure that they aren't as offensive to the Japanese people and Japanese history. So, you know what? Maybe you should just go ahead and buy the game and give it a chance, right? Well, these rumors indicate to us that you shouldn't, because apparently Ubisoft is intentionally leaking false rumors that they're scaling back Yasuke so that people that originally opposed it might now consider buying the game. These are the latest rumors about the previous latest rumors. So we have
Rumors about rumors.
nothing is confirmed. Ubisoft has not officially confirmed any diminishing or scaling back of Yasuke's role, and in fact, if anything, everything they've said about it seems to emphasize that Yasuke is still just as much there as he ever has been. I can tell you my position on all of this. Don't buy, don't play, don't support. Hey, but there is some good news in all of this. According to thatparkplace.com, a great website by the way, you should check it out. Leaked Ubisoft internal email comments on recent layoffs and studio closures as company stands at the brink of financial collapse. I think there have been roughly somewhere around 500-ish layoffs in the recent past, and now there's a whole host of new layoffs, somewhere around 180 some, with one studio being closed. That doesn't mean that Ubisoft is closed, just one of their studios. They have satellite studios in different parts of the world. But this is actually a really good thing. It means
nature is healing.
And by nature, we mean video games. You see, whenever any bad studio that focuses on woke, DEI, ESG, or whatever new label they want to give it goes under, that is a win for real gamers everywhere. Because real gamers want real games. We want games that are fun, games that challenge us at times, games that are enjoyable to play, not games that lecture us, not games that push agendas, not games that push real-world politics, not games designed around propaganda. It is very clear there was no reason for Ubisoft to go with Yasuke as one of the two primary characters other than these woke DEI ESG values. Really, they're villainies. And I hate to even call them values because a value implies something positive. These things are always negatives. With so many options for so many different characters they could have created, they could have even gone with some historical characters that are actually accurate to Japan, and instead, they picked that one black guy that was in Japan for a very short period of time and want to put him up there as if he was some massive, amazing, super legendary samurai hero. I'm sorry, he wasn't. History is history. This kind of historical revisionism is exactly what the wokies, the DEI people, the ESG people want. They want to go back and attempt to revise history, to replace what actually exists with their own version of history, which is always anti-white, anti-male, anti-hetero, and, as we're seeing, increasingly anti-Japanese. Oh, that was for like the number one. I'm not giving a thumbs up to anti-Japanese. That's definitely not a thumbs up. So I can tell you that I am thrilled to hear about Ubisoft struggling financially. I do hope Assassin's Creed Shadows fails. It should fail. Every bad game made with bad intentions should fail. Even good games in terms of mechanics and graphics and whatnot, if they're made with bad intentions to push propaganda and agendas, they should fail too. We should choose not to buy, we should choose not to play, and choose not to support it in any other way. And that rhymed like a Dr. Seuss book. And I usually only do my Dr. Seuss rhymes around my son, but hey, you know, I could do it around you guys too. And no, I don't think of you as my children. That would be creepy. Hey, thank you so much for joining me. As always, I hope you will come back and see me next time. Make sure to hit the notification bell icon in addition to subscribing. Click the like button and leave a comment down below. Even if you have nothing to say, just go down there and like type a period or some spaces or just say, hey, I have nothing to say. That will boost the video in the YouTube algorithm and push this thing out to people far and wide all around the world of the internet. And the internet is the real world. And as always, a big thank you and huge shout out to our channel members listed here on the screen. If you want to become a channel member, you should consider joining today. It's only $1.99. And if you want to support my channel in another way, consider picking up my novel, New Tokyo. It's available on Amazon in Kindle, Kindle Unlimited, and paperback formats. Link in the description. And, as always, my friends, for Fox's sake, stay real, keep playing, and never forget, yesterday's tomorrow is today's today.
Thing sucks!